Welcome to Pep Talks with Eric, where we shift gears from negative feedback loops and drive towards the life we truly want. I'm your host, Eric Ayers. I believe in the power of Ubuntu. I am because we are. Together, we'll explore how connections fuel our growth and create amazing experiences. In this podcast, we'll tune out the noise of the world and tune into what we really want and what really matters. Guys, welcome to another episode of Pep Talks with Coach Eric. I'm your host, Coach Eric, and today we are going to tap into something that is it's super fun for me. I love talking about this, and with Miss Michelle, who you guys met Michelle on episode 11, where we had an incredible conversation about navigating chaos, transmuting emotional energy, and taking radical responsibility for personal transformation. So Michelle Barone is an intuitive emotional liberation coach, and she shared powerful insights on embracing life storms as opportunities for growth, shifting anger into motivation, which is amazing.
Huge.
Yes. And why forgiveness is ultimately about freeing yourself, which is beautiful. And if you haven't heard it yet, go back and listen to it. It is amazing because I highly recommend it. Today, Michelle is back and we're diving into a topic that has the power to reshape your reality. The law of attraction. Thoughts become things. So we're going to explore how your thoughts and emotions create your lived experience, because that's what we're all here to do, is live this experience, right? And why alignment between mindset and energy is key to manifestation. We're bringing in the manifestation buzzword, and then practical strategies to consciously shift your reality with intentions. We speak a lot about intentionality, and we're going to bring that into the mix on how it works. So Michelle brings deep wisdom, practical tools to help us harness our power of your thoughts, of our thoughts, and start attracting the life that we truly want. So let's jump into part 2. Michelle, welcome back.
Thank you. We promised and we do what we say.
Absolutely.
So we are here.
And,
yes.
And I appreciate the flexibility. Life has been super crazy, chaotic. Yes. But divine timing was the shared energy, and this is divine timing. So
Absolutely.
I greatly appreciate it. So I'm going to kick this off. So let's say I'm your client.
Okay.
I'm meeting you for the first time. What the heck is law of attraction?
Well, law of attraction is not hooey. Let's start there.
Okay.
Because a lot of people will say that it's hooey or it's woo-woo. And law of attraction is actually a universal law. It didn't just start with The Secret. It started way back, right? And so when you think of law of attraction, think of, right, two like-minded individuals will find each other, your best friend, right? How did you find each other? You just felt this energy. And you just knew it was like kismic, right? We call it kismic. That's law of attraction. This morning, I woke up and I literally journaled. Why am I not doing the things that I want to be doing to have fun? These are the things that I want to happen. And within an hour after meditation, it's girls' game night tonight. That's manifesting.
Yeah.
Manifesting is saying, I like to play. I'm a kid at heart. So I like to play with this because you have to have fun. And so I'll say, you know what? God, universe, whatever works for you. God, surprise and delight me today. Just surprise and delight me. And lo and behold, I'll walk outside or I'll do something or I'll get a phone call or a text, be something that I didn't expect. And it's just something that just makes me giggle and laugh. And yeah, you could say it's coincidence, but you know what? There are no coincidences in this life. There really isn't. Everything happens for a reason, a divine purpose.
Right.
And manifesting is knowing what you want. And sometimes, most times, that comes from identifying what you don't want. And so when people have to, well, my life stinks right now. Excellent. That's great. And they're like, what? I'm like, no, seriously, let's make a list. What are all the things that stink in your life right now? What are you unhappy with?
Mhm.
Well, but I thought this was supposed to be helpful. This is supposed to be helpful, and it will be. Tell me what you don't like about your life right now. Well, I feel out of control. I'm overwhelmed. Okay, cool. What's the opposite of that? What's the opposite of feeling overwhelmed? Client Eric.
Oh, you're asking. Okay. I was on the journey. I was deep in. I was deep in. So the opposite of feeling overwhelmed is feeling in control and calm.
So you want to feel how?
I want to feel in control
And calm.
and calm.
Right.
Yes.
When we focus on, I'm so overwhelmed, life is so crazy, my life is a S show. We'll keep
Right.
this PG.
Right.
That's what you're going to get more of, because here's the key. This is the key to manifesting. The universe only understands the words,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't understand whether it's positive or negative. And so if you're saying and you're ruminating on a problem, you're going to get more to ruminate about that problem.
Yes.
So you have to switch and go, and Abraham Hicks talks about this, and I have studied Abraham Hicks a lot. There's two sides, right? There's the
Yep.
stick. You can focus on your, crazy circus, or you can focus on the calm that you want
Mm-hmm.
and then take action for the calm. So, not try to clean up the mess. How do we create calm?
Right.
And that may be cleaning up some of the mess, but we're going to frame it verbally because words matter. We're going to frame it verbally in, I'm working towards this, or I have calm. If you don't have calm right this minute, when do you have calm?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what you want to look at. So when are you the calmest, client Eric?
I'm the calmest when I honestly in my morning routines. Um, because it's routine. I know what's expected and I'm in the flow. My thoughts are coming in and I'm calm. There's no tiger chasing me, metaphoric tiger chasing me at that time. So I'm able to breathe. I'm also calm when I focus on breathing and focus on breath and giving intention.
Perfect. So when you feel overwhelmed and you feel the least in control, instead of focusing on that and going, oh my God, I'm so frantic, how do I get control? You go, when am I the most calm? It's when I'm breathing. Take a deep breath. I'm going to bring it in. I'm going to ground. I remember my morning routine today.
Yeah.
What did that just take me? 4 seconds? I
Yeah.
felt calmer.
Yeah.
And this is how you bring yourself into that calm, because so many people, when you hear The Secret, you hear the law of attraction, and it's like, I want a car, I want a trip, I want, a
Yeah.
new house, I want control.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest questions that you have to ask yourself is why?
Yeah.
Why? What does any of it mean to you? And I'm not questioning to judge, I'm questioning because we have to get deeper. Saying I want a car, I want a car. That's like a temper tantrum, right? A child, I want a car.
Right.
The universe isn't going to do that. Why do you want that car?
Yeah.
Oh, because that car, go sit in the car. You really want that car? Go sit in the car.
Mhm.
Go test drive that car. Bring in every moment that you experience sitting in that car with the leather seats. And I did this. I wanted an all black car with black tinted windows, and I wanted a T top and my not a T top, a sunroof. My husband said no sunroofs, they leak in Florida. I could picture myself driving that car with that the sun the sunroof open and the wind coming through, and of course the stereo turned up loud,
Yeah.
and just I was just bebopping along. I drove for the very first time. I went on and bought a brand new car for the first time in my life, probably at 45. Brand new car, drove it off the lot, all black, black windows, sunroof. Loved that car every time I got into it. But I had to put myself in it
Mhm.
and believe I was in it before I got it, because I had to get a promotion before I could get the car. But notice I didn't ask for the promotion.
Right.
I asked for the car.
Right. So disassociating from the how
You have to.
and allowing the universe, allowing God, allowing, Alan Watts said, you can't get wet by the word water. It's not what you call it. So whatever this collective energy of creation, of life that we all have in and through us, allowing that to surprise us and the
Yes.
and the how. And that, as an analytical person, that becomes sometimes my difficulty, and I shared with you, like, I was throwing a temper tantrum when I watched The Secret for the first time, because
Right.
that was me. That was like, no, no, no. I've had to work hard for this stuff because that's what I've been taught. And you're telling me that all I have to do is change a thought and then maybe feel it, and then it comes in. Like, it made no sense to me, and I did not like it at all.
And there's a lot of people that are like that. And what happens is then you have to meet, we all have to meet, especially as coaches, we have to meet our clients where they are.
Right.
And there are going to be those analytical people, minds. My daughter's one of them, like, doesn't like, she gets mad too.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Where's my stuff?
Right.
I asked for, and
Yeah.
where is
Yeah.
it? Where's the proof?
Yeah.
And the thing that we have to remember is, even though you don't have it right now, it's acting as if you do have it.
Mhm.
Well, how the heck do you do that? Okay, well, let's go with love, right? I want a relationship. I want to be married. Okay, why? People get so annoyed. And I'm like,
Yeah.
just pretend I'm a 2-year-old.
Right.
Why?
Right.
Well,
They can
because
be curious about it.
because I want to be married, because that's progression of life, and that's what you're supposed to do. But why?
Right.
Okay, well, I want companionship, and I want to feel love. Why? Well, because it makes you feel good, and it fills your heart, and it makes you feel important.
Mhm.
Okay, good. Now we have something to work with. Where else in your life do you feel good, loved, appreciated, that you matter? I don't care if it's your dog or your cat
Right.
or your mom or your dad or your best friend. Where else in your life do you feel those feelings?
Right.
So you already have it. Do more of that. Be more of that. Be grateful for that. Focus on that. And when you're focusing on that, the universe then goes, oh, cool. They really like it. Let's give them more.
Right. Right.
That's when you manifest it.
So many thoughts, so many different
Go ahead.
directions here. So, okay. Uh, I love, so there's many people who I've learned these concepts from, and
Mhm.
just like now I'm learning more things. For example, the way I learned it was, and informed was, like, feel that emotion, like, think about it, tap into that. What would it feel like? And go through that. And I love what you offer, because it's like you've already felt it before.
Mhm.
Find, like, go through your mind, spend an intentional meditation on going through and finding where this feeling exists, and grab it, and then bring it back to you in the now. Like, that is huge. That is,
Mhm.
like, that is something way easier than I think I would feel. I don't know, super happy in this, but
Right.
it's arbitrary. It's
Right.
I think so, and I'm going to tap into this, and then there's still some, or maybe I would feel burdened because now I have this car payment, and then it starts going off the rails, right? But
Mhm.
finding the feeling and being like, no, this is what I'm after. I want
Yeah.
more of this. I'm going to focus on this. So that's amazing. And this brings to light Earl Nightingale's "We become what we think about all day long,"
Mhm.
because, to your point earlier, it doesn't matter if you're saying what you want or what you don't want. You'll get whichever one you're focused on, because
Right.
our subconscious has the ability to focus on the subject, not
Mhm.
the not or yes. It's the subject. So,
It does a difference.
right. If you want to, uh, I want to, I don't want to be fat. If this is what we're telling ourselves, then
You're
we are going to get opportunities to
focusing on fat.
being fat. and
Right.
and so it's like switching that to, yes, what do I want? I want to be
Mhm.
well.
Mhm.
I am well. This is new
Exactly.
focus, and everything else, the stuff that I don't want, is now behind me because I didn't want it.
Mhm.
So I'm leaving it behind. And um final thing before we move on, one of the coolest things I learned was Paradigm Shifts by Bob Proctor. And
Mhm.
look it up. The diagram is amazing, because we have all these inputs, our five senses and our spiritual senses. I think there's six of them. The intuition,
Mhm.
things like that. Whatever comes in, we label it. That's what our
Mhm.
5% mental capacity does. It labels things,
Right.
and then it drops that into our subconscious based on the label that we gave it. So if we label something as bad and it drops into our subconscious, it then shifts into our emotion, our energy and motion towards whatever it is we just dropped in there. And this is
Right.
why up to age 7, kids are so malleable, and we can create whatever kid we want, because they don't have that 5%. Everything goes into the subconscious. So they're
Mhm.
being formed. Well, that's how we do it, is if we're interpreting these inputs, all we do is interpret it different, of what
Mhm.
we want instead of what we don't want. And when that drops in, it creates our energy and the motion that we want to go. So our emotion is what's driving us there.
Yes. I'm going to continue on that and
Please.
dovetail with that because, as you
Please.
said, we label it good or bad.
Yes,
Who's deciding if it's good or bad?
exactly.
We're judging. And who should be the only judge of anything? Not us.
Correct.
We don't know the bigger picture. There's only one force of nature,
Hmm.
energy that does.
Hmm.
And so that old story of good, bad, who knows?
Yeah.
Good, bad, we'll see. Yeah,
Right.
my daughter was diagnosed with cancer. At that moment, that was bad.
Right.
It took me years to realize that it was the best thing that ever happened to our family. Oh my God, how can you say that? Well, it opened up our spiritual journey. It made me have more faith.
Hmm.
It allowed me to get into healthcare. It allowed me to get out of healthcare. There's
Right.
all of
Right.
these things. Oh my God, I lost my job. Good, bad, we'll see. It
Right.
ended up being the best thing in the world for me. We don't know. And so that's the other part is, step one, law of attraction. What do you want?
Hmm.
Or what do you don't want?
Mhm.
That's step one. And usually it's what I don't want this. I'm
Exactly.
unhappy. I don't want this. And as
It's the
Abraham Hicks
problems.
says, you're shooting off your rockets of desire. And it's the
Yep.
best way to think about it. You're
Yeah.
shooting off fireworks of what you actually want because this sucks and I don't
Yeah.
want this.
Yeah.
So that's great. And then two, not my job. That's the
Mhm.
universe. The
Mhm.
universe receives, God receives our fireworks, sees it. Oh, how pretty. I think that's going to be really cool for that person. And they start God, universe starts making it all happen,
Right.
creating it. We have nothing to do with step two. And then step three is just keeping ourselves in a good place of what that's going to feel like or what it feels like to be loved, what it feels like to have a new job. We've all had good jobs. We've had that day at work where you come home and you're like, that was a really good day.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
the rest of them may have stunk, but we've all had at
Yeah.
least one day where it was really good. Like, wow, this is a great place.
For sure.
Remember that day. Remember that moment. Be in that moment more often. Focus on the good things that you're able to do.
Mhm.
Focus on the control that you have within yourself, the emotions, which is why it's so important to be so self aware of your emotional state,
Mhm.
because that is what changes the environment around you. And then step four is letting go of the outcome. Because again, you can't judge how it's delivered. It's like, I want a Christmas present. Santa brings it, and you're like, well, I didn't want that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hello.
Right.
You can't judge how it's delivered.
Mhm.
Going back to the cancer journey, I wanted a big pause. The family needed a pause. We got a pause.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
ask for cancer. I asked for a pause. I can't judge how it was delivered to me.
Right.
I can't judge how it was delivered to me that I wanted to be in an office one day talking to amazing, wonderful people and have 3 dogs under my feet. I had to lose my job in healthcare and
Right.
go through all the bullying and all the toxicity in order to get right here. And so
Yes.
we can't judge. We can ask, we can line ourselves up and that's the other myth about law of attraction. Law of attraction does not mean, hey, universe, I want the car.
Yeah.
And then you kick your feet up on your desk and go,
Yeah.
where is it? I had to get promoted to get the car,
Right.
which means I had to do the work to get promoted to get the car. You still have to take the action.
And it was different work. It wasn't working to get the car. It was working to better self, to elevate into the present place where you needed to be.
Mhm.
And the outcome was the things that you wanted. Right.
Mhm.
That's the difference in the understanding of the work. It's internal work and it's within alignment. So as we were chatting before we hit record, um, to add to that conversation that we had, the dichotomy of the world, I think, is a detriment to some and a superpower to others, because
Mhm.
dichotomies give us the ability to see tall, short, happy, sad, right, wrong, but all these are labels. But I think, to your point, as you were, sharing about your daughter's cancer, like I'm thinking back of when I was 10 being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Like,
Mhm.
um, it sucked to everyone else, but I was fine with it. It was a different thing. And then fast forward, there was trials and tribulations through this, but this ultimately became my curriculum for my lived experience.
Mhm.
We all do this. Like, we all have struggle, and I'm going to put that in quotes,
Right?
because it's a struggle because we label it to be a struggle.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it's an opportunity for growth, for us to learn the curriculum needed for us to become a better version of ourselves, to
Mhm.
become who we need to be. Um, so the dichotomy, we can use it as a metric, which gives us power because
Right.
we don't know what feeling good is until we know what feeling bad is. And then we're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, cool. I don't want that. I want this. Right.
Right.
If we do that, then we're set up for success. But if we use the dichotomy to say, oh, I feel like this, but I want that, but I'm going to stay over here, then
Mm-hmm.
we're victimizing ourselves and we're actually asking for more of what we have because we're starting to feel comfortable in it. And
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
and
That's so important.
you brought up two amazing words, letting go. Two of the most powerful books I've ever read is Power versus Force, followed by Letting Go.
Mm-hmm.
And letting go is probably the most important thing that we can do because as we grow, as we get beyond the cancer, as we get beyond the
Right.
diagnoses, as we get beyond the layoffs, we have to let go of that in order to move forward.
Right.
Like that was a learned opportunity and we learned and we're like, cool, now what?
And that, when you shared with me on episode 11, and we're, kind of talking about it now, watching The Secret and getting annoyed, right,
Yeah.
with people wanting cars.
Yeah, I was pissed.
When I first heard, you just need to let it go. There's some words in my head right now that I won't say, but that's pretty much what I would like.
Yeah.
Screw off. Like, what
Right.
do you
Right.
mean? Like, how do you just let that go?
Yeah.
And it's and I actually I wrote something down last night as I was coaching a client because I was like, oh my God, this was so good. So I've been coaching this client for about 5 years.
Okay.
And I said, what do you think the biggest shift has been? She just got married 5 years ago. Nope, not near that. Right. And so we were talking about the shifts. What have been the biggest shifts? And we talked about, at one point she was holding on so tight to the control. I have to be in control of everything in my life. And I go, why do you think? And it wasn't because it was going to fall apart. And I went, what does pressure do when you hold on too tight and you create that pressure and you're holding on tighter and tighter and tighter? Everything crumbles.
Mm-hmm.
It just falls apart. And so when she was able to release and allow the expansion, everything then came to her. And so I'm starting to wonder if that word let go,
Yeah.
that can be a trigger to people.
Absolutely.
That's when you go, screw you. What do you mean let go?
Yeah.
Release the tightening. Just
Yes.
release, even if it's just a little, and then a little, and then a little bit more, but just release the pressure.
Yeah.
And eventually, just like when we fall asleep and we're holding something, eventually it just falls out of our hand and we don't even
Right.
realize it.
Right.
But when you release it, when you surrender, and that surrender is another really challenging trigger word for a lot of people, but
It is.
not until you surrender and release the outcome.
Yeah.
Of what your expectation is of how it should be delivered to you.
Right.
Is when it's going to happen.
100%. And that, to tap into that analogy a little bit, you cannot experience water by trying to hold on to it. The only way to experience water is to flow and be with the water. And the more you flow with it, the more you get to experience it. So it's that concept. But also like bringing human design into this because
Yes.
I think this has a really huge area, and you reminded me of it. As an emotional generator myself, if you came to me and I'm at a heightened emotional level of like, or even a low, let's go to low, and I'm feeling this and you tell me to let it go. If I let it go now, it's a detriment to what I'm going to be doing because I have to feel this. But what I can do is say, I know I need to surrender and let this go. I need to tap into my emotions and feel this and let it be my guide, because that is my guide, and then respond to that. And in that response is when I'm able to let go.
Mm-hmm.
But knowing that ahead of time is a huge value, because if someone tells me to let go, it's like that was a breadcrumb that I was just given as an advice for when I'm back to homeostasis and now I can respond appropriately. Right.
Right.
But as a manifester, for example, like they have the ability to do it like that.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if they're not emotionally defined, because the emotions aren't a huge part of it. It's more of the mental part, right?
Right.
And this is the beauty of alignment and balance within who we
Yeah.
are. So, in terms of law of attraction, I'll put you on the spot a bit. What are your thoughts around law of attraction and human design?
It's it. So human design for me, when I dove into my human design and I had somebody give me a whole report, I actually wanted to learn all about it. Um, and I felt the calling, but then metaphysician like totally went over here, and I was like, oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's because then that brings in everything, and also the astrology part. But what's so interesting is it's all saying the same thing. It's all different ways to read it. And what I loved about human design when I was reading into it and really diving into it was it's taking a bit of the astrology. It's taking in the metaphysical part. It's taking in all of it and putting it in this nice little it's just like so
Yeah.
perfectly organized.
Yeah.
And all these different ways to look at it. When I ran my report, I was like, huh, a manifestor generator. Really? Like shocking.
An
Oh, and
emotional manifesting
emotional.
generator. Yes.
Emotional. I don't even know that I'm doing things and I'm doing things.
Yeah.
But I asked a friend of mine um about alchemy, like emotional alchemy. What the heck, right? And
Yeah.
I was like, what are you? What are your thoughts? Like, why me? And he was like, why do you think? And I go, I don't know. I've been doing this my whole life. And he was like, bingo. Like you didn't have to be taught how to shift and flip your emotions and
Yes.
manifest a better situation for yourself because you knew how to do it innately.
Mhm.
And that's what human design validated. Like, yeah. And so
Yes.
you're able to see the really, really good things. And then you're able to see the things that you have opportunities to work on. Because again, we're not here to cut things off of ourselves. Like, we're not
Right.
here to go, oh, I'm cutting that out of my life.
Right.
No, it's about accepting that this is part of who I am and I'm going to become friends with it, understand it so that we can work together internally to be the best version of ourselves.
Absolutely.
You can't shut a part of yourself off in a box and think that you can be whole.
No.
You can't.
No. And the excellent point, because that's the two things that I've seen. I've seen people like get their reading of their human design and they're like, oh, that validates everything that I was feeling. And it's like, all right, cool. Yeah. Cause or
Mhm.
it's like the first time that I got mine, I'm grieving because I'm so far away from my alignment that my alignment doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel like me. And I'm like,
Mm.
well, wait a minute. And the beauty is, as I became more aligned with who I was, I started to feel like me again. And that 5-year-old self is like, oh, there you are. I missed you. Like, let's get back into it. And then all of a sudden, it's like, okay, yeah, this is who I am. And
Mhm.
still fall back into the misalignment at times, because those are habitual negative feedback loops that I've created. But now coming back into, well, here I am. And the first time I heard my design, I was like, I want to be a manifester. I don't want to be a generator. Like, what? And then when I dove into generator, I'm like, I cannot be a manifester and be the person that I am with human connection, with like the power of Ubuntu, with all of these things that
Mhm.
are innately within me that I can feel as I'm speaking this, I have to be an emotional generator. And the
Mhm.
simple fact of learning that I'm an emotional being when
Mhm.
I spent years not feeling emotions was like
Mhm.
my curriculum to teach people emotions and human connection. And it's like that was hell. That was my own hell that I wouldn't trade for the world, because that taught us it taught me who I am. Just like when you learned your design, it's like, yes, this makes total sense. And you were set up through all of the negative, quote unquote, things that happen in life that created a curriculum for you to learn to become more aligned and stepping into your superpowers.
It helped me completely understand the choices that I made in the past. So it wasn't necessarily a forgiveness that I had to do of myself. It was a, oh, my higher self has been running the show the whole time.
Yeah.
I actually set myself up for all of this. This
Right.
was my curriculum. Like, oh
Right.
my, it's mind blowing when you really think of it that way. Like, oh,
Yes. You set your coffee maker to go off in the morning for your future self, right? A long time ago.
shocking
And
that
you're
it
like,
actually did it.
yes. Yeah. And that's the beauty when we're able to tap into this, and we don't even need forgiveness. We need an understanding of our our life has happened because it needed to happen that way to teach
Mhm.
us and help us grow into who we are so we can help others. And
Right.
we're all different, but we all have like I value understanding human design so much, especially from a law of attraction, because as an emotional being, when I manifest, that feeling is the most important part of that. So that's why I um resonated with your tools of finding something. And I'm like, oh, heck yeah, there's all kinds of things that I can grab
Yeah.
and be like, oh, all of these make me feel this way. I can feel this now.
Yeah.
Because that's my thing. A manifester can speak, and it's like, I already know it's going to happen. Like, I don't have to feel this.
Hmm.
And the whole process works, but there's certain characteristics of the law of attraction that, based on your design, is kind of your powerhouse. It's like
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
manifesting by magnetically bringing in this energy through my emotions, like putting it out there, doing all that. And I'm feeling it so much that it's like, oh, so happy and grateful now that I am well, now that I have financial freedom, now, whatever the case may be.
Yes,
And that,
more.
that
Please,
feeling.
more.
Yeah.
Right. It's just, and then being able to identify, okay, so I can see this is this is an opportunity. Now, what can I put in place so that I can be even better? Like, I don't even
Right.
have to think about it. Notice
Yes.
I didn't say fix it or
Yes.
change it. I can be better at it. I
Mhm.
can use that as my genius zone. We all have things that we're really good at. Okay, well, if I'm
Yep.
not good at this, then let me really do well over here.
Yeah.
Why am I trying to force myself into doing this? I'm not
Yeah.
supposed to do that.
Yeah. Use your power over there instead of forcing over here.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then you feel even better. So law of attraction and human design, it's ways for you to unconditionally, radically, unconditionally be self-aware and accept yourself and fall in love with yourself.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Um, and first and foremost, how can you love others or expect love from someone else if you can't feel that within yourself?
Mhm.
So, great starting point on this journey, or a great remembrance, if you're continuing the journey. I love that.
And what's so important about that is when you can radically, unconditionally love yourself, you can then look at someone else and go, okay, what did it take for me to do that for me?
Mhm.
What are they going through? What don't I know about them? I'm curious. I wonder what's created. I wonder what lesson they're having to learn from this.
Yeah.
So instead of judging people, instead of putting people down, but looking at them and going, that's an interesting journey they're on. And it gives you some more, it gives you, it definitely gives you a opportunity to be empathetic
Yeah.
because you've been through the journey. And there's a lot of people that are starting their journey now because things in the world are happening. We're progressing. There's ascension. There are things that are happening. Those of us that are a little farther ahead because we started sooner, not because we're better. We just started sooner. We now can bring them along with us. We now can reach back and go, you know what? We got you. What questions do you have? Let me help you. And that's what I believe our purpose is of having to go through certain things first. Not again, because there are people out there that can be, have you ever heard that term like spiritual snob?
Yeah.
I'm better because I'm so
Right.
much farther along than you. And it's
Yes.
like, I'm where I'm at, but I'm here to be in service to the person that's not here yet
Correct.
because we're all connected.
Correct.
And if one of us falls, it's going to start pulling on us. So
Yep.
we got to start lifting everybody up.
Which ultimately you took Ubuntu into a deeper understanding of the connectiveness of I am because we are, because ultimately, yes, and we are because I am. I'm as just much value as the group. And that cyclical aspect of if we're continuing to work on self and becoming better, so not fixing, continuing to be better. I love the phrase "it's me versus yesterday." Like that's it. Am I a little bit better than I was yesterday? It's just continue to be better. If we each do that, then the Ubuntu ideal is as a humanity, we all grow together because we
Right.
all influence one another. So when we're all focusing on the things we want instead of what we don't want, we're all leading to the lives of what we want. And how freaking amazing and beautiful is that? You know, I
And
love
what's
that.
funny is what we think we want is actually not what we need.
Right.
And the law of attraction will ultimately be the one that delivers what is needed, not necessarily what is wanted,
Yes.
but what is for our best good.
And it almost always amazes you. It does me, and it
Always.
surprises, and it's like, oh, that was cool.
Always.
And it's
Right. Like,
right, right on.
that's interesting.
I couldn't have planned it that way. That's awesome.
So,
Sweet.
so funny story. I had put out there that I wanted, my family and I lived in a very small house, all four of us, one bedroom, three bath, no, one bath, three bedrooms, very small house. And I wanted a bigger house, and our kids are older. So, we did the opposite. We got bigger. So we ended up consolidating and we ended up getting a 1 acre piece of property. Well, Tim the tool man, I want more. I need more land. So I put out to the universe, I want more property. I want more property. God, it's going to feel so good to have more property. It's going to give me freedom and just, it's going to be good. It's property. I want more property. And this is where words matter. My husband went on a hobby kick of antiques. We got more property. It wasn't land. I didn't ask for land. I asked for property.
Yeah.
We got more property. My house looks like a museum. Words matter.
Yes.
And when you are asking, I'm all, and I've done this for years, I'll be cautiously optimistic. because again, you don't know, good, bad, who knows.
Right.
Um, but you want to be careful with your words. You know, I want more land that we can grow, a farm like vegetables on,
Yeah. Yeah.
specific. And
Yeah.
because I want to be able to have enough food for us and then give it to our neighbors and
Right.
but you have to be a bit more specific than you'd think,
Right.
you know? Um Space to stretch out.
Right. Describe the picture in your head. Like
Yeah.
describe it.
Listen, the vision board, I don't care what
Yep.
anyone says. Vision board was my very first way that I used to manifest. I had the
I was
picture.
gonna ask you for a tool. So keep going
Vision
because this is
board,
perfect.
if you have never done law of attraction before, and you all have, you've driven around the shopping center at the
Yep.
holidays and you have found a parking spot even in your head as you went, I'm going to pull up and I'm going to get a parking spot.
Yeah.
And you did. You
Yeah.
manifested.
Yes.
Um, so a really good tool is a vision board. You don't have to do it the old school way and get a bunch of magazines like I
Right.
used to do. You can actually go online and you can print out little images of yourself. I actually uh, got an image of Abraham Hicks talking to somebody in the hot seat, and I cut my face out and pasted it on top of the other person so that and we did.
Yeah.
We went to Abraham Hicks a couple months ago.
Nice.
Um, it happened a lot longer than I expected
Yeah.
because that's another thing. You can't judge the when or the how it's delivered.
Nope.
So on your vision board, you put things that you want to experience. Greece, it's one of the biggest, probably like center. Like I want the whole family on a trip to
Yeah.
Greece for good reasons. I always put that in there. I don't want to go for a funeral. I want to go
Right.
for good reasons to celebrate. And then you put some other things around there, whether it's you're happy or you put, a dog that you want or whatever it is. And I framed it in a beautiful, little 8x10 frame, and it was on my desk. You become home blind to it,
Hmm.
but you're still looking at it and seeing it every single day.
Yep.
And in that small little house that we had, there was on my vision board a house, and it had a wraparound porch, which I don't have yet. I'll get there.
Yet.
Um,
Keyword yet.
but this house has everything
Yeah.
that I imagined. And I didn't really put that much thought and effort into it. I just took it out of like an architectural, magazine and went, that looks cool.
Yeah.
But I didn't think about everything else. And I just stuck it on there. But everything on my vision board has come true.
And a couple of things from the scientific side of me that had recognitions on the story that you said. There's a couple of things to highlight. One, even though we become used to things and blind to
Mhm.
things, we're still looking at them, and subconsciously we're recreating that picture in our mind. And
Absolutely.
each time we reconnect that picture, we're reconnecting to that universal energy, that God energy of this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want. And it's recreating this. That's why Bob Proctor would put a gold card in his pocket, because
Yep.
every time he touched it, he had I'm so happy and grateful now that I am serving uh, millions of people, making millions of dollars, and so on and so forth, because it's subconsciously doing that. The second thing I want to add to this as a really great tool that I think sometimes we don't utilize, and it's this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Every time we turn this on, we see it. It's the greatest vision board ever, because however many times you look at your phone, that wallpaper
That's
has,
my, oh, wait, that's my favorite part in the keys. And
there you go. So
yep.
every time we pick our phone up, we are sending the signal of what we want. So if you create a vision board, take a picture of it, set it as your wallpaper, and you will
Yep.
see it exponentially more than just sitting at home. And now you're doubling your chances, tripling your chances, not
Mm-hmm.
chances, tripling the energy of manifesting this using law of attraction.
Yeah. Yeah. And the way, and I want to, this is really important too. So, law of attraction, right? Step one, step two is handing it over. Step
Hmm.
three is that alignment.
Hmm.
So, a little hint for that is, we have to keep our energy, we have to keep ourselves in that right energy
Hmm.
to match it.
That's the
So,
work. That's the
yes,
work.
that's the work. And Abraham Hicks will use that, and I love it. The old dial
Yeah.
radio.
Yep.
If you're one little line off, it's going to come in all staticky, and you might get close to what you want, but it's not exactly what you want. You
Right.
want to listen to country, you better go to the country station. So, one of the ways that I do this, and I learned it from a meditation, um, when you bring yourself into, doing your breathing exercise, whether you're thinking about your favorite place where you're happy, my favorite place, Alligator Reef. There's no
Yeah.
alligators there. It's just beautiful in the blue water, and it was just such a beautiful day, and the boats rocking. I can bring myself into that energy of being there. So now I'm aligned with that happy place. And
Right.
I like to test things because, I'm an Aries, there's some fire in me. I
Likewise.
go outside and I'll stand where I know usually the dragonflies and the butterflies are. And I'll stand there and just be really quiet. And if the butterflies don't come close to me or the dragonflies, then I'm like, ooh, I must be off a bit. Okay, what am I holding on to? All
Mhm.
right, let me think about this some more. And I'll do some more breathing and I'll enjoy the sun. And then all of a sudden, I practice to see how close can I get those butterflies and those dragonflies to
Yeah.
me. And that's how I know where my alignment is.
That's amazing.
You don't have to keep it for more than 32 seconds or
Yeah.
34 seconds. They say 17. I double it up. Just double it
Right.
up. You don't have to walk around like that all day. We're not talking about, walking around just, all day long.
Right.
Bring yourself into alignment as much as possible during your day. Give yourself some breaks. You're going to be able to align yourself enough that when that swooping delivery truck comes from the universe, you're ready to receive it.
I love it. I love it. What a great place to end in receiving what we put out. So, Michelle, where can people find you?
mokshagrace.com. Absolutely. And then you can find me on all the social media platforms, even on Rumble now. Moksha Grace Coaching, Moksha Grace, mokshagrace.com.
Okay.
That's where you can find me. And I did start an Odonata community, which is a lower subscription for group coaching. And
Yeah.
so it's once a week. We jump on Thursdays. We talk a little bit about what we talked about on Moment of Presence that I do, my podcast during the day. And then we
Yeah.
bring that topic to the group coaching on Thursday nights. And we're talking $111. You can't, I mean, where else can you get coaching for basically
Right.
$25 a week?
Right.
So it's like, but I wanted to do that because everybody needs somebody.
Mhm.
Every coach needs a coach. Everybody needs somebody, and you need a
Agreed.
place to learn about this stuff, talk about this stuff. So that's my offering to make myself available to more people.
I love it. I love it. Um, well, thank you. This was as good as I was expecting, and I love how the
As
conversation just
always.
flows. So thank you so much for joining us. We're gonna have all
Of
your
course.
contact in the description. So,
Excellent.
yeah, so that would be easy for the listeners.
All right.
Right
Well, thank you
on.
so much for having me, Eric. It's always such a pleasure, and I can't wait. I hope I get to come back again.
Oh, I'm
Maybe
sure.
you should just read
I'm
my
sure.
design. You can give me a report
Ooh, yeah,
online.
yeah.
Like
We can do that.
right hot off the presses.
We could do that. And speaking of that, if anyone is interested in a journey of transformation, it's a 6-week journey of diving into what matters to you. We can deep dive into human design if you're new to human design and you want to learn your energy flow, your gifts, your profile, like how you interact in this world, your blueprints. We can start there. If you are an expert in human design and you want to dive deeper into other aspects, I'll meet you where you are. And 6 weeks, journey of transformation, and we'll do this together. Please reach out to me. And but yeah, thank you guys for joining us for this episode, this amazing episode of
Always.
Talks with Coach Eric. Michelle, thanks again. And guys, I will see you next time. And until then, be well and be loved. Thank you for joining me on Pep Talks with Eric, where together we shift our focus, brace connection, and drive towards a more fulfilling life. Remember, it's not just about where you're headed, but how you choose to travel along the way. As you continue your journey, know that you have the power to change lanes and focus on the path that leads to positivity, purpose, and connection. Let's stay connected and continue empowering your journey one commute at a time. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. And until then, be well, be loved.